the brake rotor. If you see here, it's attached directly to the rim. Now, obviously, other rotors are attached directly to the rim, but what I mean to say is the actual bobbins are attached directly to the rim, opposed to having a hub where the bobbin is attached to the hub, and then the screws are attached in the inner part of the wheel versus the middle part of the wheel in this bike. That's a very interesting design solution. At the end of the day, that is a lighter rotor. You just have less material. Not only that, where the rotor bolts into the wheel, it's spread out more, so you have larger distribution of torque. So it requires less bolts, thus then being lighter. That's an interesting solution, an interesting design by BMW. I think it's really, really smart. These are the standard wheels. And the reason I didn't upgrade to the forged wheels, which were actually kind of pretty good deal at 800 or so bucks, I think they were. Not too sure. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Is because it didn't make a whole lot of sense because they were only 4 grams lighter than these wheels. And as far as strength, forged versus cast, I've run a lot of cast wheels over the years having bikes. I guess the type of roads I ride on, things like that, I wasn't really worried about the strength. Plus, they're really nicely finished, and they look really cool with the 5 spokes and this little wingy thing they got on them, which I think is pretty hot. The caliper's on top versus being underslung, so it's going to have to fiddle with it when removing the tire. No big deal. What else is kind of oddball about this bike that I want to talk about? One thing is that the only way to have kind of complete control of the bike is within the Race Pro modes 1, 2, and 3, and you can set them any which way you want to. The reason that I mean by full control is that the other modes have everything designed in them. In other words, you can't adjust the traction control, the wheelie control, the braking, and anything like that. And you can't do it on the fly like you can on this. And I'll show you what I mean. DCT, if you see the DCT right here. On the fly, I can adjust it. And it's got, as far as I could tell, 16 adjustments. So, I'm sorry, 14. So 0 is the middle, and then it goes down from here. And you can do that on the fly, only Race Pro modes. So if you don't have Race Pro modes, I don't know if this is standard or it's part of the package I have no idea. But if you don't have that, that's going to really suck because you're stuck in the pre-designed modes BMW has. Race Dynamic, Road and Rain, I believe they are. The other thing too, what sucks about this bike, to be able to tell the temperature of the bike, you have to go to this screen. And even though you can move some information up on here on the home screen that you get when you start the bike, that kind of sucks. So you never know the temperature of a bike unless you go through a screen to screen to screen. And then when you do get in the screen, you don't have RPM. So you can't really ride this screen. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Though, it has too much information, stuff that I don't care about, and I don't know what to do with. And the dates are wrong on this. What's up with that? 16. Whatever that means. The other cool thing is that as I play with this, I find more menus. On the sport menu, you have 3 separate menus, and your traction control percentage, how much percentage of braking. I believe that locks in and stays. I haven't played with this yet, so I don't know for sure. And then you have this one, which has some lap and how much traction control you're using. And this one I think is probably the coolest menu right here, because it's got a nice RPM the way I'm used to kind of on the Aprilia, and again that and all the laps. So that's a pretty cool menu. I want to talk quickly about the suspension. I wanted the bike with the mechanical suspension, but it was going to be months and months and months waiting for the bike. and so I settled again in electronic. I said, hey, I've never had electronic, let me give it a chance. If you saw some of my videos, you know I'm kind of really into setting up a bike as far as suspension. I think that's one of the best things you can do in the first mod you have to do on a bike that's not yours or new to you or whatever. So I did initial sag measurements, and I would say this bike's really designed for someone who's about 230 plus pounds. And here's why I say that. I have absolutely zero preload, and a bike came with pretty much a quarter turn from zero preload. It was only a quarter turn. And what I have to say about that is that my sag measurements at my 205 pounds on the front is about 36 in the front, and factory setting was about 30. 36 and 30, that's pretty much, if I was to set this bike up as a complete track bike, that would be probably the settings I would start with sag. For the street, based on how much travel I have in the front fork, I really love to see about 40. And I'd love to see the rear about 35 for the type of roads I ride on, comfort and things like that. That would be a much better street setup. That being said, this thing is absolutely on rails. It's the best handling bike I've ever ridden. And here's why I think it's the best handling bike, opposed to like a GSX-R. This kind of glides through corners more like an Aprilia or a Ducati 996-ish type bike. But at the same time, it drops into the corner almost as fast as the Gixxer. The Gixxer drops in the corner way too fast that it makes it jittery. But it still has the absolute unbridled stability of the Aprilia wall and a hard lean in the corner, as far as my ability to ride, as far as I can tell, right? And not only that, I am locked up, so I haven't really been able to get past 7,500 RPM or something like that. So, anyway, take that for what it's worth. If you have any questions, hit me up. Really enjoying this bike, not regretting I purchased it. The build quality is really good. Here's how I would rank build quality. RSV4 and Torno are probably the best build quality bikes I've ever seen or I have ever owned. Second, I would say, is the BMW in build quality. But there are some things that are kind of crappy. The same thing with the... Well, I can't really say that about the Aprilia. Actually, I have not seen one crappy thing about the Aprilia as far as build quality. But a couple things. For example, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? What's up with that? You know. And a few other things like BMW did a really nice clutch line holder right here. But then the clutch line goes down and just drapes on top of the radiator. So yeah. And it just hits the radiator like on the fins on the inside. So it's like, all right, BMW, nice try. That being said, I mean, I'm nitpicking. Really, really impressed with this bike. I'm excited I got it. Future plans are a Brent tune with a stock header for now, simply because I can't get a good quality header that I want. There's a supply issue. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, hit me up. Hopefully it gave you a little more insight on the S1000RR. And appreciate you tuning in. Thanks.